Hello, sweet friends. This is Tracy. Today I am sharing this navy and burlap deco mesh wreath. Now I am also going to share how I made the middle heart and also share with you some details of how long I cut my ribbon, how I made the bow on my easy bow maker, and how I made this sign with the hearts. Okay, I'm using one of these wooden hearts from the Dollar Tree. It's 7.5 inches, long. And so I'm also using some plaster chalk paint. It's just what I had on hand because I liked it that color. Anyway, I'm just giving it 2 coats of this plaster chalk paint. Then I'm going to use a deep midnight blue and my fan brush because then I am going to make a faux plaid pattern. That is kind of what I'm into right now. I like the texture of it, and I just like it. I like the look of it. And so anyway, like I said, I have my fan brush and I'm just going to make a faux plaid pattern and make this for the background of my heart. I'm going to do some shading on my heart and just using my drizzle gray paint and a 1/2 inch flat paintbrush. I do some shading with dipping half of my brush in paint, the other half in clean water. Then I blend on a paper towel and I go around the outer part of the heart, and then as well as the faux plaid pattern lines to give it some dimension. Okay, now I'm going to splatter paint, and at first I did white because I thought that that's the only color I wanted to use, but then I decided, I want to do some navy as well, so that's what I did. But usually I do the darker color first, and then I do the white on top because it looks a little bit better, but this worked out great. It was no problem with it. And so then now I'm just giving it extra doodling with my black Sharpie marker, just going around just around the heart and just going in between the plaid patterns just to give it some doodling. This heart right here is something that I picked up at Hobby Lobby in their Valentine's section, and it already came with the metal and the wooden heart on it with a jute string. So I'm just using my ultrafine Sharpie marker and giving it some doodling as well. Okay, so then I want to give it some dimension on when I glue it onto my hearts and glue my hearts together. And so I'm using my E6000, putting some on that as well as some hot glue to make it, the E6000 gives it a permanent hold and the hot glue sets it up, pretty immediately. Okay, this is the mesh I am using for this wreath. This burlap with the ivory stripe is 10.5 inches, and the other navy with the burlap is 10 inches, and they both came from Craft Outlet. Now, I am sharing a link to my favorite deco mesh wreath based. I have a tutorial on exactly how I make my wreath bases so that I can streamline my videos just a little bit. Okay, so I used that tutorial and I did exactly what I did on that tutorial here. I just used different colors of mesh, and so I'm just whatever style or whatever colors scheme I have, that is the colors of mesh that I'm going to use. All right, here are my ribbons, and both of them came from, let's see, the stripe came from Hobby Lobby, and the burlap with the chevron, I think I got that at Walmart several years ago. This ribbon is cut at 12 inches, and I cut them at 12 inches because I was going to put them both in every tie in every pipe cleaner, and so I knew that I would have a lot of ribbon. I'm only putting ribbon tails. This is what I call ribbon tails, and so I put them, both of them, in each tie, and there are 18 pipe cleaners on this wreath. So this is how the wreath looks with 12-inch tails and every pipe cleaner. And again, there are 18 pipe cleaners on this deco mesh wreath. Okay, and then what I do is I cut off all of the pipe cleaners, and then I like turn it over with my needle nose plier. Then I give it a dot of hot glue to seal so that everything stays nice and snug. Okay, I'm going to make a bow for my wreath using my Easy Bow Maker and these ribbons. Now I'm pointing out that I've gotten some questions on if my dowels come out of my Easy Bow Maker, and y'all have heard me before. I'm a big fan of Damon over at Deco Exchange, who sells these Easy Bow Makers. That's where I got mine from, and he recommends to beat the dowels, beat them so hard with your hammer, because that is what gets your dowel to stick in there very nice, and that your dowels won't come out. And so I did that. Actually, I did it a couple of times, and it seems to be working so far. So just beat the heck out of your dowels. That kind of is his, words. And anyway, but y'all know that I have, or if you've been watching any of my recent videos for wreaths, you know that I got this Easy Bow Maker, and I am trying to make bows on this, because those who make bows on these like this, they turned out so beautiful, and it's just another way to make beautiful bows. And so I have some of these leftover tails ribbons. I cut too many for the wreath, and so I'm just putting them in and just turning my tails different ways. And then I have some burlap that I had in my ribbon stash, and I'm gonna put some of that in there. I have some of the 1.5 inch burlap that I'm going to be making a loopy bow on top. So anyway, this is just how I'm going to make a bow for this wreath. I just cut my tails off straight now, and I'll go back later once I get my bow on my wreath. Then I will dovetail the ribbons just to make them lay nicely. And I will use 2 pipe cleaners tied together to give me a longer pipe cleaner to tie off this bow. And I use my needle nose pliers to help get my pipe cleaners really tight so that my bow kind of pops and gives it just some perkiness to it. And then I will thread it through the mesh, and that's what I attach the bow to the wreath. First, I'm going to put on the heart sign. I want to put that on first before I put my bow on, and because that's just how I do it. Every wreath maker does it different, and so you as the wreath maker video watcher, you pick up different tips and tricks that you accommodate to your own wreath making. I just share what works for me. To secure the sign to my wreath, I'm using the holes that were already in the wooden sign, and then I'm going to make another hole at the bottom using my crocodile. I just punched a hole in the bottom. This is the wire I'm using. I'm just showing you what it looks like in the package because I get questions about that. I get it over at Dollar Tree in the automotive section, and so then I just thread it through and just make sure that it's secure to the frame of the wreath. And then I just thread it through those holes, and then I just do some curly cues using my needle nose pliers. And the wire does dual purpose. It holds the sign in place, and it also looks cute because I have some curly cues with my wire. To attach the bow, I just thread the pipe cleaners through the wreath, through the deco mesh, and then secure it to the frame so that it is secure. Then I dovetail the ends of the ribbons so that they all lay nice and neat. And then for a softening, I'm adding some pip berries. Now these pip berries came off of a garland from Hobby Lobby. I've shared them in several hauls, and also I have done other things with these pip berries. They're my favorite. I like them because they have pip berries and then also some larger berries on them. So I just hot glue those in the wreath so that everything is nice and secure. For a hanger and to cover the back of my deco mesh wreath, I use a placemat from the Dollar Tree. Now, to make a hanger, I use this larger jute that I get from Hobby Lobby. I get it on a roll, and I'm making a kind of like a hanger, and I just put a knot in it, very, very tight knot. And then I give a dot of hot glue just to kind of keep it in place. And to attach the placemat to the back of my wreath, I use zip ties and I attach it to the frame, and then I'll go around and put it sporadic and just to make sure that everything is secured. That pink thing is a paper piercer that I've had since my scrapbooking card making days, and it helps me out by just giving a little hole because some of these placemats are woven very tight, and so it helps give a small hole so that I can slip my zip tie in. After I had made the wreath and finished it, I felt that maybe it looked a little Valentine-y, so I pulled out this blessed word. I painted it navy blue and glued it to the sign. Now the blessed word is from a pack from last fall from Hobby Lobby.